Today on the Random Junk Channel, we're going to be working on a Halloween phone. This is a person in my villaging club. Somebody she knows, either they or their kid dropped the phone and broke it. So it doesn't make all the noises it's supposed to. I just put some batteries in it, so it takes 3 AA's. So if I turn it on, there you go. It lights up, but it doesn't make any sounds, and it's supposed to. I believe something used to be right here because I don't remember this coming off without. Could be a screw, it could have been a button. I don't know. But I know there's nothing in the headset, it's just fake. And none of this does anything. The only button that works or pushes in is the O button. But hear the rattle. Something inside definitely broke when it hit the ground. So we're going to see if it's repairable, because I'd like it back. And you know, that way if you have one of these and you drop it, maybe you can fix it. So there's a seam. It looks like there's a seam right here. I'm assuming part of it comes out here. I don't know if there's anything under the feet. It's possible. So we're going to start with the 4 screws. Number 4. Okay. Small little screwdriver to get in here and try and pry it up. There we go. So what broke free is the speaker, which is right here. See if that speaker did any other damage. I see that the wire sheared off. I'm hoping it hooked right there. I'll use a magnifier to take a closer look. Let me look up inside the phone. Because there is a motion sensor on the front. I want to make sure the wires are still connected. They are. So there's a motion sensor right here. See the little divot? There we go. Let me go ahead and get my soldering iron started. Get it warming up. So this, very similar to most of the miniature houses. It's got a blob chip. Really obvious because the blob is huge. And we have a little speaker, a little piezo style. It's probably a 8 ohm quarter watt. It's got no markings, just says W. But I'm going to assume this was right here on next to this other yellow wire because the solder is peeled from it ripping free when it hit the ground. Hey, you know what? I should probably make sure my soldering iron's actually seated right so it's not trying to burn the steel bracket. Okay, so we'll turn it back on. Like so. Lights are going, and we're going to touch it. So this can be a really fast repair. So this is more for showing you that even the cheap stuff, like I think this is like a $20 phone at Halloween. I could be wrong. It might be a little bit more now. Everything's more now, or maybe it's less. That just because it doesn't work doesn't mean you have to throw it away. I think this is a kid that got it from like their uncle. I don't remember the story, but they really fell in love with this phone. And I know that they can go buy a new phone and it probably would be relatively inexpensive, but it's relative. Somebody's $20 might be their week's worth of food, and if you're a kid, it could be your week's allowance. And you know what? I'm like, yeah, go ahead and give me the phone. I'll see if I can fix it, get the sound working. They said the lights weren't working either, but I think it's because the battery is dislodged. And then they just took the batteries out when they gave it to me, and I put new batteries in it because, of course, I can't test it without batteries. Makes it really hard to test it out. I don't have power. And if you have this phone and you wanted to, right where the power wires connect, right over here, you can actually get one of those. This is not the right style, but the ones that screw in. You can drill a hole in the back of this and actually run it off of like a 4.5 volt power supply, since it's 4.5 volts. So if you have a whole bunch of those Max power supplies left over, the single-headed ones, or even if you have a couple of triple-headed ones, you can plug this into your display, you know, for Halloween. And you don't have to go out and buy, you know, batteries all the time. So the nice thing about some of these 4.5 volt systems is you can actually remove it from the batteries. But if you decide to keep the batteries in it while you're doing it, you risk the batteries, I don't want to say exploding, but blowing up to the point where they'll leak acid. If you do that, you'd have to put a diode in to prevent the current from going backwards, or you just take the batteries out. But I do that with a lot of my stuff. I will remove the battery ability and just put a port in the back. I'll still leave the batteries in it. Sometimes I put a switch on the battery pack on the bottom because there's room with these standoffs of the feet. Where it's in one way, it's battery, other way, it's the power port. I have done the diode in the past, but sometimes I prefer to have just the switch, because a diode, even though it's a one-way gate, it draws power. So it shortens the lifespan of the battery when it's in battery mode. So I prefer a mechanical switch, and I would just put one right down in here. So let's see. There's no manufacturer on this, in case you're trying to say, hey, who made that phone? That's pretty interesting. No name. It just says made in China in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, and something else. And that's it. Then it just has a number on the bottom, and I don't know what the number is. Let's see. The number says 05/27/2013. So I'm assuming that would be the date that it was made. So right now I'm just waiting for the hot glue gun to, well, get hot, so that way I can glue the speaker back into its place. You saw I peeled off the glue, so there's no more big chunks of glue. So from it falling and hitting the ground and rattling, the only thing that really did was it just broke the speaker free, which bouncing around, it ripped the wire off the circuit board, which made it really easy to find because you could see the chunk still on the circuit board. But if you break a few other wires, if you just take your time and do a little patience and do all that stuff, you can actually see where the wires go, meaning you can look and go, oh, I see this wire was here. You can trace the tracks and know that because it says like plus and minus for power, and then it has L minus, L plus, meaning light or LED, which is that big circuit board they have in here, which is just a circuit board of tracks for the lights on the keypad. I don't think the 0 is supposed to move because this circuit board is not supposed to move. I think the plastic stake under the 0 broke, so it flexes, because there's supposed to be 4 stakes in here, and I only see 3. No, it has all 4. Oh, yeah, one's cracked. So you can use hot glue and hold it in place, or super glue, or just don't press on the buttons. I'll probably just take a little super glue while this is heating up actually and brush it in there real quick. And these right here. Like so. Just put a little pressure on it for a moment. Let it cure. So there we go. And then this looks like there was a screw in the top. I don't know if I have a black flat top screw to put in here. So if I don't, I'll put a silver one in here and then hit it with a Sharpie or some black paint, which I actually have sitting here on my bench, and just paint the screw so it blends in. But it has to be a flat top screw like this, where it has the flange on the outside, So it can actually hold down this. You can see how it's got a circle and a square. It's kind of hard to see. The reflection is, at least on the viewfinder, it's horrible. It might look different on the computer. I don't have a high-def viewfinder. I have my camera hooked up to a 1080p television, which is just a monitor, and that's my viewfinder as a monitor so I can see it. Because I can't see the itty-bitty little 2-inch screen that cameras come with. Not high-tech, not any shape or imagination. So, speaker's glued in. Let's get this battery box in. I'm going to push the wires in so we don't crush them when we screw the battery box. So, we don't want to damage the wires. So, make sure all the wires are in their place, like so. And let's go ahead and screw this back down. So, it's a pretty easy unit. Now, if the circuit board's destroyed, there's not much you can do. So if you drop yours and you open it up and your circuit board smashed because the speaker went through the board or crushed it, you're probably going to have a bad day. Probably just go ahead and replace it at that point. But if you open it up and it just rips some of the wires off, just trace where the wires go. They are similar colors, but if you just take a moment to read the track and then trace the track, the path that they go, you should be able to figure it out pretty easy. It's pretty basic, and if you have a voltmeter, you can always touch it to the tracks to see if you have the right power. So this looks like it had a little bit of a standoff on it that probably sheared when it hit the ground, and because it's just below flush. I just put my screw kit away because I needed it for my last repair. Let me grab it. It looks like all my flange screws are silver. And let's see if this is the right size flange. I know that's not their accurate name, but I've seen them called a few different things. So here we go. Let's put this in. Oh, it's too small. That hole is actually really big. So the threads are too small. Let's see, I got another. Oh, wait, here's a black one. Let's see if the black one has a thick enough thread. It does. And it holds it in. Woo! So, now it doesn't come apart. Now we'll put the receiver and we'll flip her on. Turn off the lights so you can see how bright that is. So there we go. So now, probably turned off too much of the lights. Yeah. So I pointed it towards my light. Once I put my hand in front of it, did it again. Just want to see if it does the same thing over and over again. Which it sounds like it does. It does. So there we go. So I made a local kid happy, and it's a 15-minute long video. Very rare for my videos because they're more in depth. So if you have this phone or any Halloween prop or any Christmas prop, plastic like these, the cheap ones from China, and you drop it and it's not working or it's rattling, go ahead and open it up. It's cheaper than buying a new one, and it may only require you to solder a wire on and put hot glue back in. You never know. It's worth the time, and if it makes you happy and saves you money, like I said, even though this might be a $20 phone, that $20 might be his allowance for the week or the month or what have you. So it didn't cost anything to repair it. I'll take my batteries back because that would cost something. And it's good to go. So I will the grandmother gave it to me, I will let them know it is repaired and get them their phone back. So until the next one, thanks for watching.